Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gary Neville podcast at the end of what has been, I guess, the central game of the season so far, and it ended in a win which may be absolutely critical for Manchester City over Arsenal by 2-1. There was a lot to take in. Gary, Arsenal hit the post a couple of times in that second half. There was a crazy goal conceded by Donnarumma. There was a moment of absolute magnificence from Cherki. What's your big picture takeaway?
Bernardo Silva, second half, what a performance that is. Just to grip a game. I think people sometimes become surprised when I talked about Paul Scholes in the last 5-6 years of his Manchester United career, gripping a football match by the scruff of the neck and controlling it and dominating the speed of it. And honestly, what we've just seen there from Bernardo Silva is absolutely above and beyond. And that's my starting point, because I think he's just beat Gyökeres on a header at the back post as well. He's then pressing the highest up the pitch 5 minutes later or 2 minutes later, and he epitomised what Manchester City are. Just that experience, that know-how, but that energy, that professionalism, and I thought he was absolutely sensational in the second half. And he just lifted it a gear, and I thought, in some ways, Arsenal had some good chances. You mentioned the Eze post, you mentioned the Havertz header at the end, which is, what a moment that is. But City just edged it, in the sense of edged it obviously with the victory, but also just edged it in performance levels in the second half. And look, my takeaway for Arsenal today actually is that's the best way they could have lost. Because they've not come here today, and I know the big sort of talk before the match was the bottling, the freezing, the sort of anxiety, the nerves, the pressure. I actually thought they handled the occasion very well, and that's positive. They didn't come here today and not play. They didn't come here today and sort of what would be, I have no idea. I thought they played a good game of football, one of the best performances I've seen here from an away team, to be fair. So for Arsenal, it's as good as it can get, but you're up against a juggernaut. And that juggernaut's Pep Guardiola. And Manchester City have won title after title in this last 7 or 8 years. And they've just stole ahead at the right time, and they've got the momentum. And they will go in front on Wednesday. They'll beat Burnley at Burnley. There's still a way to go, but it's going to be difficult now for Arsenal. But how they psychologically recover from this is really important. I'm sure we'll go through the fixtures shortly. But when City do go level on Wednesday, and we're taking that for granted a little bit, but I think it will happen. Arsenal do then play 2 home games before City play again. And City have got a very tough game away at Everton at a certain point, I think in 2 or 3 weeks. So, look, all's not lost, and it still could come down to goal difference. And Arsenal are good defensively, and they've got to try and get the scoring boots going. But, yeah, Manchester City will walk into that dressing room tonight and be able to smell it.
Yeah. You mentioned, obviously, Pep Guardiola, fairly obviously, and the fact that they've done it before. In fairness, the point's been made quite a lot recently that there are several in the City squad who haven't done it before. Is it the presence of those who have that make the difference? Is it that kind of almost muscle memory of winning in the clutch moments?
I think when you've got Rodri and Bernardo Silva dropping into your back line and getting on the ball and taking the ball and dictating the pace of the play like they did in that second half, particularly Bernardo Silva, but Rodri did it as well. You're essentially just, I used to think of it as being, having Roy Keane in midfield or Peter Schmeichel in goal or Bruce at centre-back. It's almost like as a young, it's almost like you're being cuddled and hugged all the time by people who are looking after you. And they're just looking after the ball. They're looking after the sort of rhythm of the game. And I felt Rodri and Bernardo Silva in that second half were absolutely incredible. But it is worth mentioning that there are 4 or 5 of those City players that are going for their first title who are playing exceptionally well right now. Start with the 2 centre-backs. The 2 centre-backs I thought were formidable today, and they've been brilliant this last few weeks. And today I thought Kristanov and Gueye were excellent. Not just excellent in terms of their defensive work, they were excellent in terms of their, when they were on the ball, they just kept getting into really good positions to accept the ball, really good positions wide so that actually Rodri and Bernardo Silva could drop in. They were brave in terms of the way they were passing it through. So start with those 2. The left back, he is as close to a Rolls Royce of a football player that you'll see at that age as I've ever seen. I mean, Trent Alexander-Arnold didn't have this impression on me when he first broke in. But his accepting of the ball on the half turn, his courage to take the ball and beat players in deep parts of his own sort of defensive third, is then positivity to go forward and stride forward. When he strides forward, it looks like Gareth Bale. He's got that run of just smoothness and real sort of like good running style. And then he gets in the box and he's good in the air. And usually you see someone, he must be 6'2", I don't know, he looks 6'2" from here, and don't know what he is, but to have someone that good on the ball, to have someone who runs like that, and to have someone who's sort of got such maturity, and I wouldn't be sort of so quick to throw a young player into the England squad in a World Cup, and I wouldn't be so quick to say get them, but this lad looks like he's made already for this type of sort of game. He was outstanding today. Then you've got Shirky, who, I mean, that goal is just... We did stay clear of the Messi comparison, didn't we? We just thought, no, you just don't do that because it just puts pressure on him. He's not Messi. But it was the way in which he skipped and just moved his feet and just sort of drifted past people. I mean, it was a beautiful bit of play, so confident. Semenyo, I didn't think was at his actual best today. But so I've mentioned Gay, Kusanov, Nico O'Reilly and Cherky, I thought were outstanding. I would ordinarily be mentioning Semenyo in that sort of category, but I don't think I can today of how he's played. But he's been brilliant since he's come in. He's been a real force and obviously lots of goals and assists. So he would usually go into that sort of category as well. And Donnarumma's the other one who's trying to win his first Premier League title, but he's a serial winner elsewhere. And he had a bit of a challenging start to the game, but yeah, the one mistake I would say, just, I mean, look, we'll carry on talking about City and we'll come on to Arsenal sort of shortly, but for City, yeah, it was a couple of incredible performances from senior players, and then lots of good young players around them who were in a good moment and confident, but them two really are like father figures. They're the guardians of quality and standards. And it's a model that works. I mean, just 3 or 4 or 5 players that are in their 30s that you just trust is the word, trust. And what they do, they raise the standard of everybody else.
Do you think there's any interest or value in the observation that City's team is settled? In previous years when they've been winning the title, one of the things we in our trade have always said, it's impossible to second-guess Pep's team. He did something different every week. This time, and that the goalkeeper apart was the League Cup final team. Yeah. It's been that team for the month since, essentially. Do you take anything from that settled nature? You know what the 11 is, and they all understand they're part of it and they're doing their jobs. Yeah,
and I think if City can stay, I mean, Roger went off with a look like a groin at the end. Yeah. That would be a problem, by the way. They'd lose a lot because Nico, I think, wouldn't be anywhere near the same level as Rodri. So if that is a 2 or 3 week injury, that might give Arsenal a little bit of something to take away from today, other than the fact that they played quite well themselves in a good game. Sorry, I forgot your question, Pete.
Settled team. Settled team. Yeah.
Sorry, but you're right. That 4-2-4 when they're defending, the 4 standing up there almost like ominously looking at the defence and give it away and we'll be on to you. We don't mention Haaland anymore. We just take him for granted, don't we? I mean, he was like a battering ram today and he scored a great goal. I think, there's no way that team will change. But obviously, Rodri looked like he picked up a groin, so that might be a point where they have to change. But I don't think he'll change the team at all. He's no need to now, Pep Guardiola. He hasn't got the Champions League. He hasn't got so many games. These players are used to playing them anyway. So I think what he's got now is to try and keep a consistent team as possible. He's got Savino and Foden that he can bring off the bench. He's got others as well. Just Rodri, there's the one question you would ask. But you're right, he has got a very settled 11. That I think that he would think will go and win them the league and go and win them the FA Cup.
Gary Neville delivered his full reaction after Manchester City F.C. secured a crucial win over Arsenal F.C., a result that has major implications in the Premier League title race. His analysis focused on how decisive moments shaped the outcome. Neville highlighted Manchester City's control in key phases of the match, praising their ability to stay calm under pressure and punish Arsenal when chances appeared. According to him, this level of composure is what separates champions from challengers. He also pointed out Arsenal's frustrations, noting that small errors and missed opportunities proved costly in such a high-stakes encounter. In matches like these, he explained, fine margins often decide everything. The discussion quickly shifted to the title race itself, with Neville suggesting that this result could have a psychological impact on both teams. Momentum, he argued, plays a massive role at this stage of the season. As the season heads into its final stretch, Neville's reaction adds even more weight to an already intense battle. With both sides still fighting for glory, every remaining match now feels like a final. Fire Trophy Soccer Ball.